Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we're going to break down the entire Cyberpunk 2077 Gangs of Night City trailer. There is a lot to go through here and this will probably be a longer video, so let's get into it, Chumbas. First thing that we see when the trailer opens up is a really nice look at Night City from the outer part of the map. Not sure if this could classify as Badlands because we don't know where the exact border is, but on the left we see a rocket coming back from space. It was probably somewhere around Earth orbit, maybe even Crystal Palace. I already talked about space exploration, so check that video, but if you want to know more, but yes, rockets can land actually back. And it's surreal to say it because we can do it as well. I mean, we are definitely getting there. The next shot we can definitely classify as the Badlands. We also had a daytime shot of the same location in the previous trailer. You can even see the ads in the city. These insanely huge holograms can be seen from all over the area, it seems, and just going, in front of them or somewhere close to them in Night City is going to be a bit surreal. And another wider shot showing the outline of the city and this huge thing flying in the air. Devs actually mentioned that just passing below this thing is amazing because these things are huge. Some fires on the road, not sure if that's a camp or maybe this area has seen some gunfights, but these shots will tell you how the area will look during the night as you drive through it, so Badlands will be an interesting place to explore during the night, especially without the light pollution. Then we go further into the city. We can see some of the vehicle options we can get in the game and some people in the background. The number of people will change depending on the day-night cycle, and also it will depend in what area you are in. Some will be empty during the night because they are dangerous, some will be filled. It's basically like that to make sense and not randomly spawn NPCs. Of course, some ads like Nicola and Set Sail. Next shot is a bit more interesting. This seems like Haywood because of the mural on the wall. Valentinos actually put them all over their territory, but we will get to that in a second. On the top left we have Nilfgaard ad, something which started as a joke for The Witcher 3 and now found its way into Cyberpunk. A really cool detail over here. I do wonder what Nilfgaard is actually going to be. Imagine a brain dance, and that brain dance is The Witcher. Also, we see Hamra Cuisine restaurant over here that we can probably go in and eat, since eating around will be great for immersion and general role-playing. Next shot is another really nice image of Night City. As you can see, everything here is packed, building on top of buildings, layers upon layers that you will have to navigate. Obviously, Milestone said that they added many ways of getting to locations. Some will be hidden, some will be, more visible, but as you walk through Night City and through districts, you will actually learn about those shortcuts as you explore. On the top we see that flying thing again. It seems it goes really deep into the city, and I do wonder if one can maybe bring it down. Some 24/7 stores as well. Hopefully they offer some stuff as well that you can buy, and some clothing stores because I don't remember seeing them here. I mean, obviously clothing stores will be in the game, but they haven't showed them so far. Maybe they did, but I missed them. But you can actually buy clothes besides looting it. It's probably one of the stores in the back. Has to be. Now, this next shot is the gold mine. This is Takemura, a brand new character that we have no idea about. We only know that he is tied to the Arasaka family. He did train Oda, who is Hanako Arasaka's personal bodyguard. So if this is his master, then I'm sure he's going to be a tough person to cross. We don't know what his intentions yet are and who Takemura actually is. I mean, we have assumptions, but this shot right here could be one of the first moments when we meet him by the docks. Up next we have some back alleyways of again what could be Haywood, but don't take my word on this because it's very difficult to actually know. But of course devs mentioned that sometimes during different parts of the day, different areas will be less or more dangerous, and alleys like these definitely expect some bandits here, maybe some gangs. I mean, this looks like a very poor area with minimum police presence. Next up, we have the outline of the entire map, excluding the Badlands, of course, showing different areas and districts, so let's mark them all. Starting from the top over here, we have Watson, which is divided into Arasaka Waterfront, Northside Industrial District, Little China, and Kabuki. Next up is Westbrook. It's actually this area over here, with Japantown, North Oaks, and Charter Hills. Then we have Santo Domingo, which is below it, with Rancho Coronado and Arroyo. On the bottom here, where the stadium is, we have Pacifica with Coast View and West End Estate. Then of course we have the city center over here with Corpo Plaza and downtown, but below it we have Haywood with Wellsprings, The Glen, and Vista del Rey. Here we don't actually see the Orbital Air Space Station, which is located a bit more further, like over here. So the first gang they talk about are the Maelstrom, located in Watson District, primarily in the Northside Industrial District and Northern Kabuki. Now first off, we see a really nice shot of the exchange between us and the Maelstrom Gang. I am not sure if this is the same chase we had in 2018, since there could be multiple instances where they attack us like that, but the overall detail and quality looks amazing, especially with rain. Then another shot of people getting ready to be harvested. We have All Foods logo here. Keep in mind, your cybernetics can be ripped, from you and sold. That is a very common occurrence in the universe. Here we see a really nice shot of two Maelstrom members shooting people because, well, they love it. Their bodies are filled with metal and most of them are borderline cyber psychos, so they shoot at anything. Here we see some of them standing either in front of All Foods or their Tottentanz club. Especially this next shot, we have some guy I don't remember seeing before. He might be one of the people we interact with at first when we want to maybe get a job from them. He looks like he's explaining ins and outs of the gangs to us. In the next one, we just had a fight it seems, but I think this turret on the right is to blame. Turrets will be everywhere, so be careful around, bases, but you can hack them or, well, rip them off if you're strong enough. Although I'm not sure if we can rip the machine gun from every single one. Next shot is basically Whole Foods factory we had a chance to see in 2018. It certainly saw an upgrade from last time. Light in the interior is much colder than before, which gives it that spooky vibe, perfect to the Maelstrom. Now this right here is the Tottentanz club. This is by far the most aggressive, most deadly and fun club in the city. It's easy to expect, dozen bodies after a good night, but also keep in mind, this is Maelstrom territory, so people don't really make trouble here for Maelstrom. But of course, amongst themselves, people can go crazy here. Now this particular NPC here, over here, is interesting because they're wearing something which is glowing, like, very nicely. It just shows how some NPCs will look like, and I do wonder if we can nab this item. I mean, if this is a cyberware, then no. But if this is an item, I really do hope we can have it. Then we have a scene with Royce, leader of the Maelstrom. We saw the scene in 2018, but it saw an update as well. Then we jump into more action gameplay. It seems after a few shots with every gang, we have V shooting their place up, so it's definitely possible to do. Although I am not sure if they will like it. If we stop right here, we can see insane blood and gore. To be honest, it's definitely more than before, and overall shooting feels much more polished. Another shot of the Tottentanz club. Now, I definitely am sure that what these two are wearing is cyberware and not an outfit, but I could be wrong. In the next frame, we have our boy Dum Dum showing us around All Foods factory, but of course this is the shot we already saw. Overall area looks much cleaner than in 2018, but the outline stayed the same. Another shot after V takes a hit from that thing Dum Dum offers her, and they are about to show Flathead. This shot even has some sort of an effect, so it might be right after the whiff. Now a shot after we give up the chip to Royce and Militech actually hacks everything. Of course, it's just one of the ways you can actually finish this mission. Also, this guy over here is clipping through the chair. I was like, wait, where is the guy on the right getting flatlined by the virus? Oh, there it is. In the next shot, more action when we fight the Maelstrom. Of course, again, our decision. Animation of the handgun looks nice, especially how the barrel gets pulled back. I like that there isn't too much blur here. Just firing a gun, it seems that they added a bit more realism and detail into the gun as well, and it's crazy to see something like this in an RPG where shooting is not a primary thing, but they said, look, we know that shooting is an essential part of Cyberpunk, so they want to make it enjoyable. They don't want to make this thing a bother to do every time you want to go shoot. It's like, oh god, I have to go shoot. So they're definitely giving their best to make, you know, just shooting polished and feel nice. And overall, I like how V is actually holding the gun. There's these movements when V is holding a gun which makes it a bit more realistic, but obviously how V handles weapon is going to change the more you use the weapon. There is going to be a visual upgrade to everything as your skills get better. More Totentans. I love saying this word, what can I say? Area from 2018 demo, this definitely saw an upgrade, and I believe V here is using some automatic shotgun, but I might be wrong. More shots from the fight with Royce, of course. In the next shot, we have Jackie getting off his own bike. I'm not sure if we saw this one before, but definitely another variation we could add to the list. In the back is Whole Foods Factory, this right here before we go into their lair. Next up we have Valentinos. They are a gang situated in Haywood, more specifically in the Glen, Wellsprings and Vista del Rey. In this shot we see a Valentino member making a mural, and as I said previously, they spray them all over the city, and generally if you see some people, they are the fallen Valentinos who are actually celebrated as martyrs or saints if they die in action, you know, protecting their gang. They are remembered and highly respected in, you know, the overall community. More different styles they have, certainly looks cool. Now in the next shot we are inside of that bar. We noticed quite a few times. The guy in front of us will probably be one of the first people we interact with from them. He also looks like the right hand of Padre. Not sure if we can have him as a companion or romance option though. Then in the next shot we see V moving through them. On the right we can actually see the outside of the bar into the street, so a nice detail when you're inside looking at everything happening outside. Hopefully some random stuff happens. On the top we have written here La Plebe, and I'm not sure if this is intentional, but La Plebe was an American punk rock band from San Francisco, and because Night City is somewhat inspired by San Francisco, I won't be surprised that this is intentional, you know, too many similarities, plus it's a punk band. More blood and gore when we shoot, and here on the gun you can actually see a different skin, like a pink one, so it's just one of the ways you can customize your weapon with blueprints. More action right here. Now in the next frame I want to focus a bit on the vehicle and the style Valentinos have. On the hood itself we can see just a bunch of stickers in my opinion, even including different gangs like the 6th Street, which is a bit strange to see, to be honest. I don't remember different gangs representing different gangs, especially their enemies, on stickers. I mean, this might even be a vehicle they snatched from them. Now in the next shot we might actually have the funeral of Jackie if he dies during our playthrough. We can see Padre and this guy on the left here, he is standing close to Padre, so definitely tells us that he could be his right hand man. Valentinos are honestly the most loyal gang out there if you compare them to the rest. They're kind of the coolest ones. In the next shot we have V sitting with Padre in a car, arranging a job probably, and in the back we can see that the 6th Street gang was actually doing a hit on Padre, so our character will be stuck in the middle of it. Expect maybe a sequence or something, maybe you pull out the gun, shoot them. Keep in mind they are in all-out war with the 6th Street gang. Now we have some knife combat when we are attacked by two Valentinos members in an alley. This might be one of those random encounters or just for the sake of the trailer. We can't see too much about the combat, but so far it looks promising. It looks definitely a bit better than it looked before. Sadly V didn't attack, but we saw some animations at least when V is actually protecting himself. Now, there wasn't any contact, so I wonder how this whole, you know, protecting defensive stuff is going to look like. In the next shot, we have probably one of the HQs from Valentinos. Here we have an amazing gold-plated vehicle that it seems belongs to El Padre, since it's written right here. This might be one of those unique vehicles you can get in the game, but if they actually don't let you take it, the only way you can is to actually steal it. More shots of Haywood with Capitan Caliente in the back that you can eat in. In the background we can also see huge buildings that outlines this verticality in a very nice way, and I can't stress verticality enough. And because it is important. This entire city is layer upon layer, and that's how we are going to actually explore. So expect some elevators and, you know, stuff you have to go through to get to another level. After that, a more open look of the city during the night. Now next up are the 6th Street Gang. They were formed from the veterans of the 4th Corporate War, that they saw enough violence in the streets, so they formed a gang to help protect the local community and enforce justice. Of course, that justice got skewed to fit their own narrative, so they got corrupted in the process. They're situated in Santo Domingo, so Arroyo and Rancho Coronado, but they have some influence in Charter Hill and the Glen. They are extremely patriotic in a sense, you know, in their own version, and you can see that their logo and the cars they use remind me of those old government vehicles. I mean, just look at them. Now this next area, to be honest, looks a bit like Rose Street. Kind of a funny thing, but very cool. Here we actually have 6th Street Gang member approaching us when we are sitting with Padre, so the scene is probably before that hit we talked about before. He might be one of the more influential members, and as you can see, they don't shy away from cybernetics as well. More street violence here, not sure why is he doing it. They might be actively evicting certain people from this area since it's their territory, or might be collecting protection. Next up we have this house, which could be one of their HQs or maybe important buildings. It definitely stands out from the rest. This area is probably like the ex-suburbs of Night City, so, you know, this entire area will generally be more open in a sense of having smaller houses around. Next up, we have some vehicle driving around Santo Domingo. Really nice colors overall from the Golden Hour. We also get a better look of the gang. In the back, we have Urban Commandos tag. I guess they consider themselves that. Also an N-card station in the back. I truly believe that the reason why they lost their way is because, well, they started off with veterans, and later, well, you have new people joining the gang following a certain principle that they follow, but they're not veterans, so even their view is going to be different from the overall picture and the initial goals of the gang. Next up, we have more action gameplay. This is how your regular shootout is going to look like. A destroyed car in the back, which shows the level of destruction you will see once the car explodes. Also, V is equipped with an industrial hammer, something we also saw when we fight Sasquatch. Regarding enemy AI, I do wonder how will they act, you know? Here they kind of stand in front of you, the guy in the front is pushing. What I do want them to see is taking a cover and potentially surrounding us or using grenades or cyberware to move us, you know, from the cover. Next up, we have another one of their locations. Not sure if this is a proper HQ, but overall they're situated near the dam as well. We have the petrochem in the background. Now a shot of them attacking us with a crowbar. V again has a knife, and I like the way he holds the knife. In the back we of course have two other Chumbas that are behind the car, so this tells me that yeah, NPCs could potentially hide behind the vehicle and shoot from there. Kind of an interesting face right here. This is the face you make when you're about to get absolutely destroyed by V. It was interesting when an NPC swings, it didn't really connect with V. I kinda wanna see how it connects and what happens if we parry an attack or something. More partying, it seems that most of these gangs do, and later they wonder how corpos can destroy them all in like an instant. Some drinking with the same NPC, so they show both what happens if you're nice to them and what happens if you are not. Some fun activities after drinking where we shoot the face of Eldon Holt, a candidate for mayor's office. Seems they're really not a fan, so does that mean we will have some missions connected to Eldon Holt from them? Does that mean they support Perales, who is another candidate? Do they support the current mayor of Night City? Also, the weapon V uses has some attachments like the bag grip, which looks different, and also a nice scope. Now this guy right here looks like he could be their leader. We saw him a while ago in the screenshot along with that other NPC, so it could be, you know, the same case right here. You know, you have a right hand and their boss. Also in the back we have 666th Gang, which is funny but a nice wordplay over here. Kind of a surreal shot of kids playing right next to two dead bodies, a true reality of 2077, and more shots of the aftermath of the exchange between the police and the 6th Street. Next up we have a shot of Judy Alvarez in her braindance studio. On the desk we actually see a guide to the net by Rach Bartmos, one of the best, if not the best netrunner that ever existed. Judy seems to be a fan. There is one more book on the side, but it's a bit difficult to see if it's an Easter egg or something random. Maybe you know, tell me down below in the comments. Now we're going to take a look at Voodoo Boys. They are some of the best netrunners in the universe. They live in Pacifica and they basically own the entire district. They are Haitian diaspora who came to Night City because their home was basically destroyed. In the first shot, we seem to have either the BBS data fortress we go in like we've seen in a deep dive video, or this could be a brain dance of that. The overall effect is very similar to the one in previous brain dance gameplay, but I cannot confirm 100%. Next up we have the Netwatch agent. They basically want to stop Voodoo Boys from breaching the Black Wall. They are not sure what the rogue AI might do to everyone once they are out. And keep in mind, everything you do on the Netwatch actually can see that, so if you kinda run against them, they will be a bit difficult to fight against because yes, they're also very good netrunners. In another image we see Brigitte, the leader of the Voodoo Boys, and it seems she is sitting with Evelyn Parker. So that's why I think this might be a brain dance, but who knows, you know, it's a bit strange to see Evelyn here, out of all places. She's definitely more connected than I initially thought. Now the next shot is definitely from the inside of the BBS data fortress. Not sure what Brigitte is telling us here. There is a huge construction yard or docks behind her. In the net you can pretty much create anything since all laws of normal world don't really apply over here. We had this shot in the deep dive, but you gotta keep yourself cool once you're inside because technically you have CPU inside. So you don't want to overheat your entire system and die, and that's why they're being placed, you know, with ice. A cool transition to the BBS data fortress along with the Black Wall. Another shot we actually had seen. This is their HQ. The equipment they have is absolutely top of the line, with a bunch of net running chairs around. A much better look at Brigitte, and see this net runner in the back? They're basically packing one of the most advanced net running suits, so don't really cross these guys. This is, as all of you know, Placide, the right-hand man of Brigitte and basically one of the leaders of Voodoo Boys. Every gang has one, like I mentioned before, you know, right-hand man and the boss. Yeah, by the way, he says I see everything you do in that trailer. He's not joking. They probably do know everything you do in Pacifica, so watch out. Also a bit of an updated look at Placide from the deep dive video and this entire scene. In the next shot, it seems this might be the market in Pacifica. We had a short walk through it in the deep dive. Here you can basically find anything from the black market. Weapons, cyberware, armor, you name it. Pacifica is also a combat zone, so police presence is basically close to zero. And the reason why it's called a combat zone is because gang activity became so huge that the only way you can eradicate the gangs from that area is to completely destroy the district, and they cannot really do it right now. I'm sure they would if they had a chance, so they basically don't have any jurisdiction, you know, in Pacifica. It's all owned by the Voodoo Boys. Here we have an interesting look at how Voodoo Boys are dressed and also one of their vehicles. This comes from a here car manufacturer. Overall, by the colors of the vehicle you can kinda see what you can expect over here. Here we see one of their masses. They are religious, and generally the Voodoo Boys do practice voodoo in a sense, and you know, voodoo priests were actually the first members of the new Voodoo Boys before. In 2020, Voodoo Boys were basically some kids who, you know, appropriated the culture of the voodoo to sell dope on, you know, colleges and just scare people with that look. Up next we have a shot of Placide, probably showing us around, you know, the Pacifica. This can happen at the start because we do have that event where the aerodyne or the helicopter attacks the building. Next up we have the animals. We learned about them in the deep dive, but overall they are by far the craziest gang of them all. They are extremely strong, as you can see. They push themselves as much as possible. They don't have a leader and are not centralized in a sense, but if there is a job or a situation, they declare the strongest among them a leader, like an ad hoc leader, like Sasquatch is. They also moved into the Grand Imperial Mall in Pacifica, so of course Voodoo Boys won't like that. Animals are also bouncers all around Night City, so it's going to be interesting if we attack them, then you know the animal bouncers won't let us in or they will attack us. That would be a cool thing. Of course, more combat from within their HQ. This entire location definitely saw an upgrade from before. We can also see some nice level of destruction in the back, so it's chaos overall. We also see the same gun we got in the previous trailer, looks like a Nokota assault rifle. This one doesn't seem to have any upgrades, also the turret is not aiming at us. So it seems it was actually hacked before this attack, to attack the animals instead of V. Then we have some boxing. If you want to impress the animals, then you gotta be strong and ruthless. Not sure if this guy we're fighting is actually, the right-hand man of Sasquatch or someone random, but because they don't have a leader, it's just one of the animals, basically. In the next shot, we have a certain location, which looks like an arena. This could be owned by the animals, but I also see other people here, so it might be a general arena we go into. I mean, get ready to fight for some eddies. After that, we see another shot of a huge animal member. This could be one of the guys we fight, or he even might be a champion of the arena. I think in the back, we see one member of the Valentinos judging from the back of their clothes. Now we go back to the mall when we fight Sasquatch. This is something we already saw before though. In another shot, we see what happens after Militech storms Olfu's factory, and we get out after the heroes fight. They came in fully prepared it seems, and look at this Militech soldier on the right. I mean, can't wait to get his armor set. Now we move over to the Tiger Claws. They are situated in Westbrook and some parts of Watson. Tiger Claws are extremely territorial. Generally, they are prone to robbing people a lot and being heavily involved with Arasaka as well, so they have some of the best firepower out of all the gangs out there. This is their leader it seems, Wakako Okada. She appeared for a bit in the weapons trailer, so it's either that she is also a fixer besides being a leader, or she is just a fixer, but we saw that Padre is a fixer and also somewhat a leader of the Valentinos, so it could be the same thing here. In the next shot, V is engaging against them with a katana. A very interesting thing that bullets don't really graze V, so it could be that you can repel bullets with a katana. I mean, that would be a bit too up, but possible with, augmentations. They are also involved in braindance recordings and prostitution, so this seems like, one of their studios. Now we move out to the streets. I do believe this is Japantown. This district itself looks so different to the rest that it will be a thrill to get lost in these packed areas. Also, the dragon hologram will be an interesting sight to see once we move on the street level. Now on a more interesting shot when V is driving a bike. It also seems this V is wearing some Tiger Claw stuff, and so far from these couple of seconds, I see some general improvement on the driving. The bike has a nice swivel once you steer, but again, to really see if it's enjoyable or not, we have to play the game. From this shot, we can also see the overall atmosphere in this area during the night. Not that many NPCs, which makes sense if it's a dangerous area in a dystopian future. In the next shot, we probably have the HQ of Tiger Claws. Not sure why he pulled out a gun here. It seems something is about to go down. And also in the back, we see an NPC in a T pose. So it seems stuff around him at that time wasn't completely finished. I mean, the footage you also see could have been captured some time ago, so it might not be the latest build. Now we go to Jig Jig Street. Again, each street has a name in Night City, and I believe that Jig Jig Street will be one of the more interesting streets in the districts. Could be filled with clubs or brothels. I mean, so far it looks like it. After that, we move into this cutscene where V is either removing a cable from this guy or he is putting it in. But then all of a sudden, you have an Arasaka assassin coming after you with these twin mantis blades. A really cool effect, but overall, he has an Arasaka logo on the helmet. So I'm not sure if he is a unique enemy or just one of the assassins Arasaka has. And no, I doubt that this is Oda. Personal bodyguards don't get involved in these situations at all. And it's almost like he has an Oni mask, which is the entire helmet, definitely looks cool. I do wonder if this is a unique item or just a regular one, but it depends on the enemy type as well. There is also something moving in the background if you look, but I am not sure what it is or where they actually are. Another shot of the vibrant district in Night City, of course, more holograms of the fish, a neat sight to see, and on the right we of course have Arasaka logo because they have an enormous influence in Japantown. More fighting with Tiger Claws. Keep in mind they primarily use bikes, as we can see behind the guy, and you will easily recognize them due to these tattoos. I believe he might be also using gorilla hands as an augmentation, but I am not sure. Some more weapons and clothing we will be able to find, like this spiked bat and face masks. Also by the hand and outfit we can assume that this is the same character they used who was driving a bike. Also, when he hits you, this might be how your death animation goes. Slight glitch and then flatline sign. Now we move to the Mox. They were formed by Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, who wanted to protect her workers from certain clients and danger. They are extremely tough and are in war with Tiger Claws. Because Tiger Claws were the one who killed Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, because at first some Tiger Claw members mutilated this girl and then Lizzie was pissed and she attacked them, killed a couple of Tiger Claws, and then Tiger Claws basically attacked back, killing her. And because she was loved in the community, you had riots against Tiger Claws, so don't let the appearance fool you, they are quite deadly. Here we have another look of the Lizzie's bar. This is actually the main entrance. The one V goes in is straight from the roof. More shots of how they will look. Of course, that is a constant part of 2077, so expect these scenes all the time. Then we get a nice look of the bar. Overall, we had seen this before. Now, this NPC right here looks like a Ripper dog for the Mox. He did operate on the girl and is definitely going to be one of the people we interact with. In the next shot, we have maybe one of their leaders, if not the leader herself. Love the augmentations here. It seems you will be able to put spike on them, and if you see the small thing behind her, it glows, so this might be one of those blueprints you can collect or some general info, maybe lore related like a PDA. Next up, we move to the bartender. He could also be a person of interest and I believe a romantic interest. Some new shots of Judy. Now, guy to the net is actually on the right. She is definitely a fan of Rage. Then we move out to the city where we go with this guy on this tower to look over the city, it seems. He might be someone important in the story. Not sure who is he connected to because we don't exactly see the face. The trailer then goes on to the Badlands during the night. Here we see a small settlement of nomads. You will have those all over the Badlands. Again, we see another shot of the rocket going up. Space traffic is wild in 2077, so of course, as you play, you will see a rocket landing or going up from orbital air space station. Now let's talk about raids. They are a gang of the Raffen Shiv, that is like the subculture of nomads, and Raffen Shiv are by far the most hated nomads. They attack pretty much everyone, including other nomad families and packs, so bandits. They will be everywhere in the Badlands, so if you run into them, they will probably shoot you back. Raids are notorious for breaking deals, stealing from their own clients, killing them, so don't expect much from them. But oh boy, they like racing. I mean, each nomad knows everything there is about their vehicles. That's why V, at the start of the Nomad playthrough, knows how to start a car. He did that since he was a kid. This will be one of your racing challenges in the game, it seems, with them and probably the 6th Street Gang. Now we see some fighting during the storm in the Badlands, and judging from the vehicle we are shooting from, it seems we are protecting a certain cargo and escorting it somewhere. I'm sure that those activities will be in the game. Obviously, raids won't like that and they will attack us, so this vehicle fighting is something we can expect. Moving on to this shack, this honestly might be the starting area for Wii, or maybe the first house he has. There is the car V goes into, and I believe Jackie is going to be here as well, since we will have a job together. That's how you meet him. Next up, we have Corp Bud Building, which is probably the HQ of the raids in the Badlands. Now we go to Aldecaldos. They are your nicer nomads and were formed all the way back in 1990s, so they are true nomads in a sense. They get money from scavenging, protecting transports, bootlegging, etc. And of course, here we have one of the more important NPCs. She came from Night City, this is what we do know. Not sure what the story around her is, but I'm also sure she is potential companion and romantic interest, but for Nomad life path. There is also a very neat sniper rifle she has. More of Aldecaldos settlements, overall cool bunch, so don't shoot straight away when you see them. Now we have another person here, again looks like an important character, and judging from the car, it's definitely one of the more unique ones. In the next shot we see some Aerodynes attacking V, and I am not sure what V is using, but it has to be some sort of a machine gun. I mean, how else do you plan to take these things down? I guess that continues later with more cars chasing you. After that, we get a shot of the broken bridge. This actually might be the end of the map in 2077, and generally how to expect the end of the map to look like. Also, it seems our guy from the previous, scene that has a car is also here. Not sure why though. By the way, do you see this ramp, behind him? What if we jump over it? I wonder what happens. more fighting with Militech in the Badlands. Also, it seems Militech is shooting at someone else, so, you know, if you ask me, this is one of those encounters you have, because Alana did actually mention that, you know, sometimes as you're going through Night City, you will see cops and some gangs shooting against each other, so it's up to you to decide what do you want to do. You want to engage? You want to just go away? It's up to you. Now, this guy who appears for a second looks like he could be either Trey Santiago, but he became a media during the time of the Red. Not sure if something has changed in 2077 or, you know, someone else, but important for Aldecaldos. And that's pretty much it. Of course, I skipped some frames because it showed nothing special, but this is all they presented so far. This was a beast of a video to make. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and tell me down below what is your favorite gang so far, and as always, subscribe and like for more Cyberpunk 2077 content, and join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also have a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it there, and huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.